Most people in crypto are being lied to. Not by the market, but by the content creators that you're watching. And I want to talk from an experience point of view because I know for a fact that they're terrified of losing views. So they won't realistically tell you what they're doing, they won't tell you what they've sold, or the trades that they're really in. Because in this space, money is made by the views, not honesty. And today I'm going to showcase this because I want to speak from experience from the last 7 or 8 years as a content creator in the world of YouTube and how people think and ultimately what the best business model is for these content creators, which ultimately keeps you holding your altcoin bags for longer and longer and making you go through the vicious cycle of hopium, hold, hopium consistently. Now, why does this matter? Because the world of YouTube is a very interesting place, and we're going to go into this quite deep, and I do apologize if I hurt said feelings, but if you do like this sort of content, do leave a like, please, and obviously comment, let me know your thoughts on this, and if you've had any experience of this with other content creators. But this is an older article. It's got an embedded kind of thing within it, which kind of makes it look a bit weird, but it is from the 4th of December 2024. It's about a year old now. And YouTube views of content cryptocurrency influencers hit a 12-month high. There's a reason for that. We knew what was happening with the inauguration. Now, when we talk about views and view metrics alone, you can see here 4.72 million, which was pretty high considering what was happening. Now, this is new. This is kind of what we're on right now, and we're about 2 to 1.8 million now. Because at the end of the day, right, we could talk about this till we're blue in our face. The incentive problem is hopium pays and honesty doesn't. We can talk about CoinMarketCap when it's all red or when it's all green like today. We can talk about the alt-season metric, talk about the fear and greed. Negative news or realism does not get clicks on YouTube. It doesn't. Say news sold gets a backlash. We know that. I've sold many of my assets and I talk about it and people hate me for it and unfollow. It's quite disheartening really when you think, when you're trying to be transparent, when you're trying to be honest, when you're trying to actually help people and teach people, being bullish equals more signups, but it actually doesn't equal being right, does it, realistically, especially in a market like this? And it keeps viewers hoping for more, and that retention continues, and they always come back. You've probably seen how tribalistic cryptocurrency is with coins and content creators. Algorithms reward emotion over truth. Now, content creators aren't bad people. They're just incentivized to keep you watching. That's the reality. And when I started the world of cryptocurrency, and especially when I started investing, I didn't think I'd ever become a content creator. I kind of fell into it just because I was talking about it openly on social media and people wanted to know what to do. And I did random tutorial videos on Coinbase and stuff like that. And that was it. But realistically, it's quite hard being a content creator in the world of finance because you are criticized pretty quickly. And at the end of the day, it's because not many people are thinking for themselves. Now, let's talk about the psychology behind a lot of this, because I think this is the important part. Now, you got the sunk cost fallacy where you've held for so long now, you kind of just don't care. And that's where I think a lot of people, especially consuming YouTube content, fall into. And they still follow the same content creators because you like them or you like their personality, not so much what they're saying. But you may well have that situation or relationship with them because you bought based off something that they've talked about. You've obviously got the hope bias where you prefer optimism versus the negative side of it, where even if you think it's wrong, you're going to continue anyways because, again, it links with the first one. You've already held for too long. But the main one, and I think this is the crux of it, influencer authority. How many follower accounts do they have? How many subscribers do they have? They must know what they're talking about. They must know what they're doing. They must know something more than I do. They must have some inside knowledge. And they always kind of tease you with that information, don't they? Now, I've talked to teams before in cryptocurrency, and half the time it's all bollocks. And I don't tend to listen to them these days. I never have. But yeah, try not to fall into that, because when you think, oh, because he said something, ooh, he should probably know more than me, I should probably buy this information. And even recently, I'm not going to mention what platform this is, and it's a platform, not a coin. And one of the main people who are on it have always been messaging me recently on Telegram saying, this is going to go to like $1. This is going to go like it's going to go. Hasn't happened. And they've been saying that for like 3 years now. And this is a person who works for that company. They don't know anything. But we could talk about the other side of it, community attachment. Bags become an identity. People will rebrand their content around it. They will change their stuff on X or on YouTube to just cover that coin. It doesn't work. And not to mention the fear of missing out. Come on, FOMO. What if it actually does pump? What if it does go? What if this video here is a complete bottom signal that, altcoins are going to pump and run with for 2 weeks? Mobster got it wrong. But realistically, it doesn't last long, does it? And not to mention, when we talk about FOMO, we've got to talk disbelief, right? We all know, we've all seen those charts before, the disbelief chart. People don't want to accept a loss. But again, we can talk about every single one in reverse order if you want to. Every time you sell, it'll pump. Now, I think the reality is people aren't essentially addicted to the world of altcoins. They just think they're addicted to the world of hope, getting rich quick. That's the belief that they fell into because previous cycles allowed that to happen. Because it hasn't happened this time. And this is the first time, by the way, that we've had a rise in Bitcoin with a rise in dominance, and that has not changed. It's the first time we've ever had these market conditions. So realistically, it's been a very, very hard market. And this is why every single YouTuber that's been covering altcoins have been struggling right now. But let's look at the side of the market where it's a bit of a lie, because we can talk about Bitcoin here, how we've went up the stairs and out the window completely. And this is like, it's more likely to be a retest into those zones and going lower potentially if we don't get our act together. But when we talk about the world of Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance and all those kind of caveats, bear with me, as I've alluded to it, we've had an incredibly crazy Bitcoin dominance period. If you go on these higher time frames, it's absolutely mental when you talk about how this was a market low and this is where Bitcoin's been rising. And we've had two little small reliefs, realistically. We've had one in 2023, 2024, but you probably never even noticed it. And that's the thing. Bitcoin dominance has been rising longer. Altcoin pairs have been bleeding for longer. It's been awful. Liquidity has moved into strength, not weakness. We've had policy changes of QT now, rate cuts, liquidity tightening. That element around speculative assets has been hurting more than anything before. Most altcoins will bottom probably at the totally random points now, because realistically, you could probably argue Bitcoin's top now. The proof in the pudding is behavior. Normally, people would invest into hope, into the green candles. But we haven't had many, have we? We haven't had a lot. And we can talk about how this is the longest risen rose or whatever in terms of Bitcoin dominance ever, as Bitcoins went up. The harsh reality is bags have not pumped because no one is interested. But again, we could talk about how content creators are getting you to be interested and to keep them going in and keep you watching for longer, because that's the harsh reality of it. It's ugly. Now we can talk about the world of YouTube and the harsh reality of it, how 90% of altcoins are awful. Like, talk about crypto daily, crypto will explode. Lovely, great. XRP is the one. Lovely. BTC and Ethereum, I am ready. XRP Bitcoin. It's just a lot of bollocks titles just to get you to click, realistically. Crypto is broken. And it is, realistically. The shocking truth you need to know. Oh my God, 100,000 XRP confirmed by experts. Is this real? Definitely not. But that's the thing. People are looking, as I say, at titles, thumbnails. Oh, this looks interesting. What's this? Ooh. Beware, it's rigged. Yeah, you can argue. Altcoin ETFs, probably going to get no interest, but it's a good topic. The survivor bias around my coin is different is unbelievable at the minute, and it really is. And I can see it on my Patreon, I can see it on my Discord, and it just doesn't work out very well in the long run, because realistically, liquidity is going to Bitcoin. Even though I've been saying for the last 18, 20 months now, have a lot more Bitcoin than altcoins, be a lot more savvy with your Bitcoin versus altcoins, because they're not the same thing. And there's too many altcoins, and I talk about this quite a lot. And if you want to jump in Patreon, you can. But ultimately, if you're in there, you'll know what I'm talking about. The reality is here, we could bounce at any point with altcoins, and it changes the whole pattern again. And it gets people, ooh, I'll hold for a little bit longer. We'll be all right. And unfortunately, then it goes lower and lower again. And it's just the sad reality of how it is at the minute. And it's very, very, very fatiguing. And I know a lot of people have quit crypto because of it. And yeah, you didn't really pick bad coins. You just picked bad expectations. And in those expectations, when they went really high, you doubled down on it. You didn't sell. You didn't take any profit, because you were told by content creators more often than not, it's going to go to stupid prices. Because the scary part here is you can put in altcoins on the world of YouTube and it's horrible. Like, I am genuinely struggling now for content creation. I don't know what to do. It's quite hard. There's not much to really cover. There's too many content creators. It's not my sort of vibe, and I hate looking at YouTube every single day. And for me, I could talk about how, my old kind of routine of talk about altcoins and stuff like that. But the reality is it's just a different beast now, and we can all talk about that. Just some closing thoughts, because on the screen, that's me. No alt season yet. Here's why it's delayed. 1.3 thousand views. Lovely. Below, alt season is coming, 12k. But obviously, yes, there's a lot more subscribers there, as you can imagine. But the reality is here, it just showcases how different the market is, realistically. Journey Crypto, nearly 600,000 subscribers. Me, 73,400, roughly, give or take. But the reality is, as I say, no one's interested in those sort of titles. If I just did a one saying alt season's coming, which I did not too long ago, it got triple the views. Even though we didn't get an alt season because rotation failed completely. And you can see that down here, where, you know, you can see these sort of content. Look at that, nearly 1 million views on predictions. It's crazy. 5 altcoins, you kick yourself. Don't miss this, holding out altcoins, it will happen all over again. They're all designed to get views, realistically. But that's where the problem lies. We're in that vicious circle, that vicious cycle. So yeah, bit of a worry, really. I don't know what to say, really, other than the fact that if you do want to see more of my content, jump in Patreon. I'm doing less and less on YouTube nowadays because there's nothing really to cover. The hopium kills you when you watch it and look at it. Because, as I said before, a lot of stuff on these videos, they don't make sense. They go against the data completely. They go against the information of why we're in a state of disbelief of what we're in. But they try and pull the wool over your eyes. It's a bit of a problem. Anyways, if you like this sort of stuff and you want to get your eyes opened, leave a like and subscribe, obviously, but comment what you think. And if you want more psychological stuff, let me know. If you're not yet done so, watch this video, because it kind of tells you why there's no alt season.